Good evening to everyone who's joined us this evening for meditation, mindfulness, and manifestation. Dr. Petra is not with us this evening. We have Faye joining us, and she's going to take it over here in just a minute. Faye, you're muted, dear.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faye, and I'm glad that you're able to join us tonight. I'm sitting in for Petra, and we're going to do a short meditation, and then we're going to have a conversation. So if you can just find a comfortable position. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. Just breathe in and out, allowing the natural flow of your breath. Don't force it, just notice what you notice. Notice whether your stomach is going in and out or your chest is going up and down. Notice the temperature of the air as it passes your upper lip. Notice if there's any tension or tightness in your body anywhere. If there is tension or tightness, just breathe into that space. And as you exhale, see that tightness, that tension loosening and releasing with the breath. Just keep breathing, relaxing more and more with each exhale. Feel the support of the floor. The support of the chair. The support of gravity. Now breathe in that support. Contemplate the idea that life is for life. Life is for me. Life is designed to support itself. Science of Mind says that love is the self-givingness of life. And that self-givingness of life gives of itself to itself, for itself, as itself. And knowing this truth, contemplate the idea that we live in a kind, loving universe. How has that love shown up in your life? What ways am I supported by life, by the universe? And we're going to sit in the silence and just contemplate the ways that we are loved, we are loved, we receive love, we give love. And just notice what you notice without judgment. Just notice it like a leaf passing in the wind. as you continue to breathe. Just notice whether you had ideas about how you're supported or the contrary. Either one's not good or bad. Just notice which one you have more of. Growing up in this society, you may have been told something different, and that's okay. Thank your inner guidance for what was revealed to you. Take a deep breath in and exhale with the sound of and just return your focus to your breath, noticing the pattern, the rhythm, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Fully coming back, stretching if you need to. And just open your eyes when you're ready. Take a moment, let everybody come back. Tonight, I wanted us to talk about support, how we're supported. In our community, there's a lot of energy on manifesting, demonstrating, because that's what we teach. And one of the key things for me that I learned in the practice of the principles and learning what it means to manifest or to demonstrate in my life is really leaning into I'm supported, I'm fully supported by all of life, whatever that means, whatever that looks like. And whatever we believe, whether it's in God, so to speak, or spirit, the universe, the universal laws, whatever name we choose to call it, the thing itself, the intelligence of the universe, that part is what's supporting us. And it's expressing as us. Because it's expressing as us, it's also guiding us, whether it's intuition or people coming to us. Because again, if we're God expressing, people we interact with is spirit expressing as well, the divine. And so we get to be it, we get to engage with it, we get to also receive from it, to give to it, receive from it, as well as be it. Like we're every aspect of it, because it's all of us. It's all of us. every aspect of our being. When you think about the way the body works, the intelligence that created our body is the intelligence that also sustains and maintains our body. If we have a cut, our body automatically heals itself. Like it's designed to keep going. And when I think about the medical industry, the consciousness that came up with how everything works, the insurance and all of that stuff, because again, life is designed for life to carry on. And so that consciousness is always there guiding and supporting life. And so when we lean into that truth, as we are intending a specific outcome, that collapses time in a way to allow for the manifestation to happen sooner. Because we know that we know that we know that we know, without a doubt, that we're supported. The book, The Science of Getting Rich, by Wallace D. Wattles, it says that when we have an intention, when we set an intention to demonstrate or to have a manifestation, all things start to move on behalf for that to fully express. And so when I think about all things, like if you think about a seed, take a seed for, say, strawberries or watermelon. You have the soil, you have rain, water, you have sunlight, air. Like there's so much that's happening that's gravitating toward that seed for the full fruition of the strawberry or the watermelon, whatever it is. And so it's the same thing with us and our lives, whatever it is that we're intending. And so I offered that for the conversation tonight. And I'm curious to know if there's, oh, okay, thank you. I'm curious to know if anybody noticed during the meditation any thoughts that were contrary to support, and how that showed up for you. Like, because for me, it's like when I hear a thought that's contrary to me being supported, then it's like, well, is that true? Is that really true that I'm not supported, or that life is hard, or that it's a dangerous place? There may be danger, but it doesn't mean that life as a whole is dangerous. So I'm curious to know if there are any participants that noticed any thoughts, and how you handled it. Like, how was that for you, your experience during the meditation? Bobby, is my volume better? Is that okay? Am I louder?
Yes, you're louder.
Okay. Okay, TJ? Looks like TJ's hand is raised.
Blah, 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 blah. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yes, this meditation, typically that does happen, Faye, but this meditation tonight, no, not so much. The thing that I kept coming back to was what you were saying. Where do you feel tightness in your body? Just like, where is the least amount of tension? And it's usually in my face or on my neck and shoulders and that. So tonight was better than most, I think, for me. I'll have to think about it. I don't remember any resistant thoughts coming up this time. And I loved when you said in the very beginning, the life is giving of itself to itself. I think, is that how you said that? And I just kept kind of repeating that to myself. And it's such a tender thought. It's such a loving thought that it just feels good to just say it in my mind.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, when I first learned as far as the science of mind definition of love, the self-givingness of life, the more I explored it, it was like, OMG, like this is just so juicy. It's delicious because it's like, no matter what I do, like I can mess up, but life is still going to give of itself to me, as me, through me, for me, because it's thinking about all of life. It's doing it for all of life. So yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that.
thanks.
I hear Petra's voice. We're here for the delight of the divine. And so, yeah, when I think about flowers, roses, tulips, they each have their place. They each have their shine. And we each have our place. We each have our shine. And so we're supported in expressing, showing up and expressing how we choose to show up and express authentically. So. Thank you for sharing. I don't see any other hands. Bobby, were there any other hands? I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody.
Terry, and then Connie.
Okay. Thank you. I see it now. Okay, we could do Terry.
Thank you so much, Faye, for guiding us today. What came forward to me today was not so much thoughts as, and of course it was a thought because I was aware of it at that moment, was how tired I was from my previous work days. So I'm on a cycle where I'm off Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for the next few months. And that was the first thing that came to me, is how much I gave of myself during my work the previous days. And as you guided us further into, I am love, I am of love, I give love, I receive love, and I am supported. So as I became aware of the thought, I am so tired from the previous days, it wasn't an exhaustion. It was an awareness of just being tired. But I returned to I am love, because that is just something that's very favored for me. It just, I felt very connected to everything that is and everybody through my expression in the world and everything. And what flowed from there was how supported I am. I am supported. And all of the tiredness that I had become aware of at the very beginning of how I gave in different communications with different customers and things, all of a sudden a flood of receiving came into my awareness. That during that previous tiredness of that 5-day work cycle, how much I actually received from some of those interactions. And all of a sudden the tiredness just flushed out of my body so gently. And it was such a great reminder of how supported I really did feel. When I came out of that work cycle for the previous few days, it wasn't that I was disliking my job or anything. I was just physically, I just felt kind of tired, mentally tired. But now I feel so grateful that the awareness came back to me of how I was supported in those interactions of me giving and receiving in kind, and how supported I am today, and how grateful I am that I received that awareness, that I am indeed supported. Just other small instances came across my awareness of support. And so thank you for guiding me through that process.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for sharing that. It's so interesting. You know, as you were talking, it made me think of the law of circulation. Because a lot of times, I'll just speak for myself. When I'm giving and, you know, being of service, when I lose sight of why I'm doing it, that's when I really feel drained. But when I stay focused on my purpose and the reason that I'm giving, the reason why I really want to give without attachments and all the other stuff and expecting anything in return, that's when I don't feel that drain. The other part too is just the whole giving and receiving. Because when we release something, when we give, like it has to come back around. Like, and so even if we're not necessarily aware of it and not letting it come in, it's still coming. It's still coming. That's what I love about how life is for life, because the whole is not going to let the bottom drop out.
Right.
It's going to take care of itself. It's going to take care of each of us. So,
right. Yeah. And that's what came to my awareness, is that last Friday, which was the first of a 4-day cycle of my work week, how exhausting it was. But what came into my awareness is that as I gave of so much of my energy and passion and everything that day, how I was still sustained to come back the next day, actually with joy and ready to give again. And it wasn't, punishing myself, give, not receiving. It was the awareness that came to me in this moment as we're together today, that I was receiving. And that is why I just didn't feel depleted. I just felt physically tired and mentally a little tired, that I was supported. I was supported during those times of my giving, because it did not drop out. It did not deplete me. I did receive. And so receiving and the awareness of it today is such a gift and a good reminder to touch base with myself, not at the end of a 4 or 5 day cycle, but daily, even several times during the day. So the law of circulation really has meaning. Thank you.
You're welcome. It even gives me the idea to anchor it. Like you said, you were just tired. It wasn't, anything like negative about it. It was just you were physically tired. We're human. That's what happens. And so it's like to anchor it in our body that, okay, yeah, I may be tired and I'm still supported. And so it's just, what do you call it? Like a cycle. It's gonna pass, and you'll be rejuvenated as needed. So yeah.
What an anchor for me is that it's not this or that. It's this and this can be true at the same time.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Connie.
Yeah. Hi, Faye.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the marvelous meditation. It's very, very helpful and beautiful. I settled in and lots of revelations. But I've been in this process for quite a while with CSL. And the process is honoring my path in life and honoring other people's paths in life. And that means stepping back from criticizing. I used to be very, very critical. And it's literally rewiring my brain, really, truly. Yeah. And it's such a marvelous relief and a path and all of that. And so I'm not quite sure what the original question was, but that's what I have to share. Oh,
Well, thank you for sharing. The original question was like, what did you notice ultimately during the meditation?
oh, okay. Yeah.
And so you said you noticed as far as like just around allowing people to have their experience and you to have yours, but without the criticism. Is that right?
Yes. And that came to my mind. Yeah. And it just opens my heart. It's just speaking of loving, I get to be much, much more loving of myself and others. Oh my goodness. And they don't have to be some way that I think they should be. They get to be who they are and do what they do. And they choose for themselves. And I choose for myself. Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that emerge during the meditation. And it just feels like that that whole process and that whole way of being for me is now stronger as a result of the meditation. And I'm very grateful.
I appreciate that. So criticism.
Yeah.
So I'll speak from my experience. That was one of the things that I really struggled with. And I still occasionally, yes, I do still struggle. Um, I heard it. Not anymore. I don't struggle anymore. So ultimately, I took up a practice. I don't know if you've ever heard Petra say, I don't have an opinion about it. I had heard her say that a few times. And so I took up a practice of not having an opinion about people or situations or things or whatever, because what I noticed for myself is when I had an opinion, I made something right or wrong, good or bad. There was a judgment. And then there was a story behind it, or like there was this snowball effect. And so I noticed once I took up the practice, it was easier for me to allow people to have their experience, as well as I got to have my own experience, because I was missing out on having my own experience because I was so busy trying to make them be the way that I needed them to be. So it really freed me up, and it freed the other person up to show up the way that they intended to show up, however they were going to show up. The other deal I learned too is just to see the good in people. The same way, if I'm walking around saying life supports me, life supports them too, regardless of what they're going through, whether they're dealing with addiction or bad relationship, whatever it is, they're supported the same way I'm supported. And so me beating the drum of whatever it is that they're doing or that they're going through is not necessarily helping the situation. Me speaking truth, saying that they're supported and they're going to figure it out because there's an intelligence inside of them. That is different. And that, again, allows them to have their experience the way that they're going to have it. I'm not going to specifically speak for something, specifically, just because if they haven't told me they wanted it, then I'm not going to, set that intention for them, unless they ask for it or whatever. So, but yeah, I think that's really huge, that you're aware of that, Connie. Thank you for sharing that. Like that's a big realization. That's very huge. Did you have something else you wanted to say? I see that your hand is still raised.
So much. I have a quote from the Dalai Lama.
Okay.
And I put it, I typed it up on my computer, big print, and it's up on my wall. Love is the absence of judgment. The Dalai Lama, very simple. Yeah. So, and I just ingest it and breathe it in, and it helps. It's very much a part of what I'm, how I'm growing these days. Yeah. With the help of CSL. Oh, that's
I
it.
love that quote. I love that quote. I'm feeling teary-eyed because when I think about it, you say it again, love is the absence of judgment.
Judgment. Yes.
So when I go back to the definition of love, the self-givingness of life, there's no judgment. It's just giving. It's giving, and like the sun is rising and setting, is shining on everybody. It doesn't say I'm not going to shine on this city because they doing whatever. Like, it's just giving. And yes, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I had something that I wanted to read. So in the Science of Mind textbook, on page 27, the chapter is, it says nothing supernatural about the study of life. And so it says, let us then approach the science of mind, the science of spiritual psychology, with awe, but not with fear, with truly a humble thought, but not with a sense that we are unworthy. Let us approach it normally, happily, willing to accept, glad to experiment, hoping and believing that as the result of our efforts, we shall each derive a great good, a sound understanding of the natural laws of life as they apply to the individual and his relationship to the whole universal scheme of things. I mean, ultimately, when we stand in the truth, one, that we're supported, one, two, that we're expressing as the divine, and then three, that everybody and everything is also doing that. It's like we can't mess it up. I mean, we can, right? We make mistakes, but at the end of the day, we can't mess it up because life is gonna, it's designed to, you know, what do you call it? To tweak itself, to realign or whatever. Like if you look at Mother Nature, like when things get out of whack in nature, nature automatically resets itself. It knows how to do that. And so the same thing with humans, with sentient beings. Life knows how to reset. Yes, self-correct, autocorrect. But yes, it's going to correct itself. Like when I think, if you think about our bodies, if we have a fever, the body's fighting off something. It knows how to self-correct. So yes. And so thinking about the whole, we're each needed for the whole. Like we're each here at this time on purpose. Life is intentional, is purposeful, and because we're here, whatever's seeking to emerge in, as and through each one of us or our lives, that's what's seeking to emerge as the whole. Like, and it's our place, it's our part to bring that forward. And because 9 times out of 10, we're not necessarily the only one with that urge. And so that's where we get to co-create and we get to partner with each other and play. Because again, it's all God, it's all the universe, it's all the intelligence, it's that thing. And it's beautiful. It's really beautiful to be able to navigate life from that perspective when we move knowing and embodying that truth. It feels different. We get to have a different experience. We get to have a totally different experience from, say, the hell, fire, brimstone. There's something that's seeking the whole devil mentality, or like, the back and forth with spiritual warfare. So yeah, I love each of the shares because they were unique, and each, something that most people will experience. So thank you each for sharing. Is there anyone else that would like to add to the discussion?
And I don't see any hands raised.
Okay.
Brenda, do you have anything to add, dear?
No, Bobby, I had my oral surgery follow up and I'm kind of tender and not talking right now.
Okie dokie.
Thank you so much, both of you.
So, in hearing the tender, you're welcome. Thank you all for being here. Be mindful as you go through the rest of the evening and the week. Just notice what you notice about your thoughts and how support, like pay attention to how support shows up on a daily basis. And then also, because TJ, you mentioned tension and tightness in the body earlier. Just notice where you have those areas, and you can ask your body, what is that about? And just breathe into it. Because there are times where there's tightness or tension in our body because we may not feel supported, or we may feel some kind of way about something. And so when we breathe into it and exhale, we can see it leaving our body and letting it go. So keep that in mind as you go through. And for whatever reason, if you're feeling low energy or fatigued or just drained, remember you can always come back to the meditation on your own, or the affirmation, life is for life. So life is for me. And affirm it and bring that energy forward. Connie, you have your hand raised. I think you're muted, Connie.
There. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, great. Thank you. Okay. You mentioned getting rid of the stress, and I want to share with you all a technique that I use. And it may not be consistent with CSL, but I'll just tell you anyway, because it really works for me. It's called reevaluation counseling, RC. You can find it on the internet. And I do it once a week with my friend Paula. We get online. She lives up in Bonham, and I live down here in Dallas, so we're kind of far away. We get on Zoom, and first we each talk about what's new and good in our lives. And Paula times us. We get so many minutes, but if we need more, we take more. Then that's kind of like a buffer. And then she counsels, and counseling involves I'll just use the words, just spitting it out, whatever the stress is that seems to be big and overflowing, just bleh, let it out. And to do that with a person that cares about you, and we really do care about each other. We've been doing this for years. And I don't try to solve it. I don't even make suggestions, just accompany her while she's moving it on out. And then after she finishes counseling, I give her what we call an up and out to put her back into present time. And the up and out might be name flowers, beginning with go through the alphabet and name flowers. Or it might be, oh, she gave me one, name cities in the United States by alphabet, things like that. Puts us back into present time. So she counsels, I give her an up and out, I counsel, and she gives me an up and out. And I just feel a lot lighter after all of that. And evidently, the stress can settle into the muscles, nerves, and veins of the body, and that helps to release it. And another thing that I do, in addition to all the wonderful things at CSL, not all, I mean a lot of the wonderful things at CSL, I do transcendental meditation. Usually our mind goes on a surface level and horizontally. And what we do with TM, and I became a teacher of TM and taught that for about 10 years. What we do with TM, in instruction, we receive a mantra, which is actually a Sanskrit word, and instruction on how to use it. And the mind goes in a vertical direction, not horizontal. We're transcending, going beyond the surface level of thought. And then that causes the body to rest very, very deeply. And then that causes stress to be released. And as it gets released, we come flying out on thoughts. And that's not bad. That's part of the whole process. But when we notice that we're not thinking the mantra, we don't slap ourselves in the face and say, oh, you made a mistake. No, we just comfortably come back to it. And we may transcend just for a couple of seconds and fly out, and we may transcend deeply. Sometimes we go to the place where there's no mantra and no thoughts. You can't hold it. We'll fly out at some point. I can't hold on to that. But no mantra, no thoughts is we're actually experiencing what we call being or spirit directly. It's pretty amazing. And that's a really good one for releasing stress. And then, of course, there's prayer partners. I have a marvelous Sangha group, and I just love it. And we get together, and we have an online text group. And if someone needs prayer, they put it in there, and we all pray for each other. And it's fabulous. Yeah. So I just wanted to share those things. If anybody is interested to look more, they can. And if not, they don't. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing those.
Yeah.
There is something to speaking, getting it out, versus keeping it in our head. Because I know I've had many conversations about what I should have said, what I could have said, or what I did say. So yeah, to get it out, to have somebody hold the space.
Yeah.
There's power in that, because the other deal is, you said, the bringing out, the up and out, because that a lot of times when we're venting, we're in the story. The story is either in the past or in the future. It's not in the present moment.
Yes.
So that's beautiful. That is beautiful. So yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
We can only make change from the present moment. That's where the change is, in the now.
And then there's Empowered Living with Rob Bright. I go to that every Friday night. Empowered living. It means that our power comes from within us and not from out there. It's such a great, it's a circle. It's so magnificent.
And he's been doing that for a few years.
A lot of, yeah. It's 7 to 9. It's a CSL circle. It's 7 to 9 on Friday nights. Yeah, that's a regular appointment for me. Yeah. I really, really enjoy it. And he has handouts. He gives handouts which are, summarize and extrapolate on what he's talking about that night. And he does the presentation first, and then he has open conversation, which is really, really good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And again, thank you all for joining us tonight. This has been beautiful. Brenda, if you need treatment or anything, support, just reach out to me. My information's on the website. Any of you actually, if you want treatment or you need support, I'm available for treatment or anything else. So, or you can reach out to any of the practitioners on the website, the spiritual coaches. Bobby, is there anything else I need to say or do?
I think we're complete. I don't see any more hands.
Yeah, I don't see any hands either. Well, thank you all again.
Just a reminder that we're not here next month. This ends April and we'll be back in June.
Yes, thank you. I forgot Petra will be going out of town. So, yes, she'll pick back up in June. Let's do a slight benediction. Just breathing in the gratitude of this moment, of what has been received, acknowledged, embraced. I know that this time has been blessed, is good, and I know it will carry each one of us forward for greater expression in love, as love, for love. And I let it be.